Let's try one.
Start over.
No, you don't have to start over.
Oh,
You
okay.
can keep going.
Okay, all right. Hi, I'm Jessica Walden with Quality Assurance International. I'm a senior technical reviewer and policy specialist, and I'm going to give you some insights about how to determine whether or not a material that you want to use in organic production, handling, or livestock production, whether or not it can be used if it's not organic itself. And the reason that you need to know whether or not it can be used is so that your product is certifiable. There are restrictions on what materials can be used for production or handling, and generally it comes down to whether or not the material is classified as an agricultural material, a non-agricultural material, a synthetic material, or a non-synthetic material. So it's really important for us to be able to determine that, and also what the use is going to be, so that we can tell you whether or not it's accepted in organic production or processing. And the way that we do that is we provide you with a non-organic material compliance questionnaire, and that questionnaire asks a whole lot of detailed information, mainly a step-by-step manufacturing process, all ingredients used, source material, any processing aids. It also asks for the manufacturing processes, so any synthetic processes used or any biological or physical processes used to produce it. And that way we can take that material through a set of decision trees to determine what its ultimate classification is. And that will allow us to be able to determine whether or not it's something that can be used in organic production or handling, or something that's prohibited. And if it's prohibited, there's always the option to petition to the National Organic Standards Board to have that material looked at and reviewed in a formal way to eventually potentially get it added to the list of positive materials. This is a really complex subject, so let's look at some examples that might help illustrate. Polyolin, which is used in capsules that are used by organic dietary supplement manufacturers. The first question of the decision tree for ag, non-ag is the substance a mineral or a bacterial culture as included in the definition of non-agricultural substances? No, the answer is no. Polyolin is not a bacterial culture. It is a microbial metabolite isolated from a culture medium or fermentation broth, so it's really a polysaccharide. Question 2 is asking about whether it's a microorganism, and the answer is no. It is not a microorganism. It is a product of a microorganism, however. We go down to question 3, is the substance a crop or livestock product derived from crops or livestock? And the answer is no. Polyolin is derived from a microorganism utilizing crop material as a substrate. So it ends up being a non-agricultural material. So polyolin is non-agricultural. Then we'll take it through whether or not it's synthetic or non-synthetic. And we can use the non-synthetic or synthetic decision tree. The first question is, has the substance been processed to the extent that its chemical structure has been changed? No, it's produced through fermentation, and polyolin exists through the actual fermentation of the microbial cells and filtered out. It is produced through a naturally occurring biological process and does not undergo a chemical change at any stage of extraction or purification. So based on the classification of materials decision tree, polyolin is best described as non-agricultural and non-synthetic. So when we're looking at, firstly, whether or not a chemical change has happened, we are looking to see if something new has been created as a result of a process. The process might have been biological or physical, or the process might have been a chemical one. So if something brand new is created as a result of the combination of ingredients or materials, we want to look to see what is responsible for that new material being created. And that will help us determine whether or not it's a synthetic process or it's a biological or physical process. If something is extracted from a product that already exists in the product, so even though there may be synthetic materials used like a synthetic solvent or pH adjusters to isolate or extract a material that already exists within the agricultural material or mineral, then something new has not been created. And that usually means that a chemical change has not occurred, and it usually means that the finished material is a non-synthetic, either agricultural or non-agricultural material. So we look at, is something brand new that's created? If yes, what was the cause of that new material being created? And otherwise, is it something that was already there in the product itself, and we just used materials to isolate it? And generally, the isolation process is a non-synthetic process. Not always, but these are kind of like your basic rules of thumb.